Alrighty, kids, we got another fun graphing problem here. We know how to start. We're going to factor where we can factor. Well, that numerator, not factorable. I know you're disappointed. Man, I can't factor the numerator. That stinks. Factoring is so fun. But you can AM that bottom one, what multiplies to -6, adds to -1. Well, that'd be x minus 3, x plus 2. Woo woo, woo woo. Alrighty, so my domain. X can't equal 3 or -2. And I use my domain as like a little checklist. Okay, so for the holes, it's what cancels. Gone. It's going to be at -2. How do I figure out my y value? Let's write down our simplified function. Well, if everything cancels out of the numerator, it's just x minus 3, right? No. You got to put a 1 in the numerator. Don't forget about that, all right? That x minus 3 is in the denominator. It started at the bottom. It stays at the bottom. It is not Drake, all right? It can't go up here, all right? It stays there. Excellent. So now if I want to figure out what my y value for that hole is, if I plug in -2, I'm going to have 1 over -2 minus 3 is -5. Awesome. So we have -1/5. X-intercept. Okay, how do I make my x, or where does it cross the x-axis? We're going to come back to that in a sec. We're going to come back to that on this one, okay? So hold your horses on that. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's go to my vertical asymptote. Well, what's left in the denominator? X minus 3, which means that x equals 3 is my vertical asymptote. And my horizontal asymptote, well, if the numerator degree is smaller than the denominator, it's 1 and 2, then I'm going to have y equals 0. So let's plot some of these things. We've got, that was terrible. I'm going to try that again. Little better, little better. All right, so there's my y equals 0 and my x equals 3. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Maybe it'll help me. X equals 3 is right here. Okay, so there's my asymptotes. Now, x-intercept, that's where the graph crosses the x, or the x-axis. Isn't there an asymptote going right along my x-axis? And don't we know that asymptotes don't allow you to cross, right? It's like that. It's like a fence, okay? And you're not good at climbing fences, and it's like the Jurassic Park electric fence. If you touch it, it's bad. So we're not going to touch it or cross it, okay? So there is no x-intercept on this particular one. All right, that's cool. We'll just draw a little line through it over there and say like, nope, sorry, it doesn't exist. Cool. All right. Nope. No x-intercept. So now we can just plug this into our calculator, get a table of values going, right? I've got my vertical asymptote here at 3. X equals 3, right? So I know that. And then I'll get 3 values before and 3 values after. So if I plug it all into my calculator very carefully with parentheses on the numerator and denominator, I'm going to get a nice set of values. So let's plug those in. I'm going to have, will be 0, 1, and 2 here. And then I'm going to have 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And my y values are -0.3 or -1/3. We got -0.5 and -1. And I've got, of course, an error message at 3 because it's a vertical asymptote. And then I got 4, 1, 0.5 for 5, and 0.3 repeating, so 1/3 for 6. You'll notice some symmetry like that, especially when you have y equals 0 as your horizontal asymptote. So that's a good thing there. That's symmetry is always nice. It's very nice, right? Okay. All right, so we're zoomed in on the graph. That'll help. Let's plot some points here. So I've got 0, comma, -0.3. So 0, -0.3. So right in here. I've got 1 and -0.5, so right along here. And I've got 2, -1. And let's not forget our hole we had at -2, -1/5. So there's an open circle there, and it's a little tough to see there and draw on this thing. So I'm doing my best. So I've got my that side of the graph there. Remember, we're going to go, oh, I cross the asymptote. That's a no-no. Follow that bad boy. Start her up again. Yeah. Alrighty. Doesn't touch or cross the asymptote. Let's go to the other side now. 4, 1. 5 and 0.5, and then 6 and 0.3. Wow, those are terrible. Let's try that again. 0.5, solid point. Okay, I guess that's what we're going to go with. Alrighty, so my graph goes through those right on up. Gets close, but never touches the asymptote. There we go. Never touches, never crosses. Just gets nice and close. Right? Perfect. Like somebody getting in your face. Alright? Like in a basketball game. You see them getting in each other's faces, but you can't touch because then you're going to get a technical foul, but they start yelling at each other and stuff like that. Just get real, real close. It's like there's an asymptote between them. Right? There we go. Or like when an umpire and, you know, the manager in a baseball game are yelling at each other. Just keeps on getting super close, but never touches the ump because then he's going to get tossed for show. Probably fined too. So there's an asymptote between the ump and the manager. Right? There we go. Awesome. Look at all those analogies. Mr. Allen's full of analogies. Alrighty.